The following is a Comfortably Zoned Radio Network production.
Hi, everybody, and a very pleasant good evening to you wherever you may be. The F&M Schaefer Brewing Company raises a cold glass of Schaefer beer in your honor, and Lucky Strike's blowing smoke rings at you from the Comfortably Zoned radio stations, and it's time once again for Dodgers baseball. A tale of two cities, from Brooklyn to Los Angeles. I'm your host, Peter Trunk. My co-host, Ron Rabinovitz, is on assignment. Tonight, I have two of my favorite people as my guests, Linda Wilson and Bernie Rose. Linda, how are you?
Hey, I'm doing well, thank you. Good to be back.
Okay, and Bernie, how are you doing?
Just fine, doing great.
There you go. That's great to hear. Good to hear. Well, it's the Hot Stove League, and we're like, I don't know about you guys, I'll speak for myself. It's almost like I'm 7 years old, and I'm waiting for Christmas Day with all these, like nothing is happening because it seems as if everybody is waiting for the shoe to fall regarding Stanton, Giancarlo Stanton. And our Dodgers are involved in all of the rumors, and the days are dragging, like I said. Like, you're waiting for Santa Claus, you're waiting for Santa Claus, you're waiting for Santa Claus. Some people are in dire straits. They feel, Dodger fans I'm talking about, they feel that the Dodgers need Giancarlo Stanton, that they're only his bat away from a world championship. I, on the other hand, personally feel that we meaning the Dodgers, were a Verlander away from the world championship and not another bat. But, that's just my first impression on this. I would like to get both of you involved in a conversation. First, let's talk about Giancarlo Stanton, and then we can bring up at the end, toward the end of the show or after the middle of the show, we can bring up this pitcher/hitter from Japan, Otani, and the Dodgers are also, involved in that because, the Dodgers are the Dodgers. Let's face it. The Dodgers are the new Yankees in the respect that everybody's going to start hating them now. Their road attendance is going to break all kinds of records. Everybody's going to come out to see the Dodgers and to boo them and to root against them and stuff. They got the swag. They got all of it. They got everything. They got the money, and they got that Brooklyn thing hanging over their heads, and some people rooting against them and stuff. And I saw things on Facebook today that I couldn't believe. And being as old as I am, I really should be able to handle this better. But I see people. There are Dodger fans, Brooklyn Dodger fans, that hate the Los Angeles Dodgers, and that I understand to a degree. but they think that people that still root for the Dodgers, in some way, shape, or form, have exonerated Walter O'Malley from all of his sins, and think that it was not Walter O'Malley's fault. That it was Moses' fault, Robert Moses' fault. I'm not one of those people. I'm not a fan of Robert Moses, but I in no way, shape, or form blame Robert Moses for the Dodgers leaving Brooklyn. It's 100% O'Malley's fault, in my opinion, but I still refuse to let him rob me twice of my team. So it wasn't the player's fault. I still root for the laundry. I root for the Dodgers. So, call me whatever you will, but, at least understand that's not the case. Anyway, I don't want to get into that now. Let's get on to Giancarlo Stanton. And ladies before gentlemen, if you don't mind, Bernie Rose, I'm going to ask Linda Wilson, what are your feelings, your predictions, your gut feeling, baseball feelings about Giancarlo Stanton coming to Los Angeles and playing for the Dodgers?
Well, I would love to see it if the deal was right. Obviously, I don't want to see done what some people are suggesting would have to happen, such as entire 40-man roster traded for Giancarlo Stanton. I think he would be a great addition if things worked out right. As far as predictions go, man, I think I stopped making predictions a while ago because it seemed like I just like to keep my mind open to anything, and I don't want to get my heart set on one thing and then have it not happen. So I kind of my tendency is to go into the winter meetings and, into the off season in general without any expectations, knowing what they need to do, but trusting that they'll do what's best for the team. Now, we haven't always shared the opinion that the front office knows what it's doing. I think they may be onto something. I think after this year, I think they're showing that they have a plan, that they're kind of moving forward with their plan. And as a result, the Dodgers did get further this year than they had in 29 years. Last couple of ownership groups didn't get them anywhere. So anyway, I would like to see it happen. I'm open to it happening. I know that Giancarlo is an exciting player to watch. He's from LA. He would love to play in LA if everything worked out right. I certainly wouldn't want to see him end up as a Giant, as none of us would. I would hope that if he does come to a West team, that it would be the Dodgers. And I've enjoyed watching him over the years. I saw him win the home run derby at the All-Star game last year, and when it was here in San Diego. And I went to the game at the World Baseball Classic in March this year when he hit a tremendous home run off the Western Metal building. And he's just one of those players that incites a lot of excitement from fans just because of the sweet swing he has. So I'm at the place where I just trust that the front office isn't going to give up too much for him, and if they're going to have to take on the contract, they're going to do the right thing somehow, and hopefully just anything to make sure he doesn't end up with the Giants.
Yeah, we can't have him on the Giants.
Bernie Rose, what are your feelings right off the top of your head?
Well, it's pretty much a lot of the same thing. I mean, the deal has to be right. I wish I knew exactly how much money they. I mean, I don't really need to know, but I mean, they spend so much money. This guy's owed $295 million over the next 10 seasons.
Yeah.
And I don't know how much they can keep paying out. You got the other guy now, Ohtani. It's going to cost a lot of money just to pony up to get him. You got to put out $20 million just to bid. It was like what they had to do with Puig. You had to buy the rights to bid on him or something.
Right.
And,
exactly.
It's a $20 million posting fee for transfer rights. Then you got to give him a signing bonus and give him a deal.
Yeah.
But we'll get into him in a little bit. But Stanton, I'm down here in the Miami market, so I've seen a lot of those home runs.
Yeah.
I mean, sure, he had 59 home runs this year. The year that they hit him in the face, like with a month to go, I think he was going to win the MVP. I mean, Kershaw could thank him for getting hit in the face because he won the MVP. But Stanton still finished second. But I think he was on his way to that MVP that year, and he would have two. And it took him another year or so to get over that because in 2016 he only hit 240.
Yeah. When
in fact, that year that he was, when he lost the last month of the season because of that, he hit 288, and he had 37 home runs and 105 RBIs with a whole month to go.
Yeah.
That's why I'm pretty sure he was going to win the MVP. He already had 94 walks.
Yeah.
So, and 20, that was 2014. 2015, he had a shortened season also because he had a wrist surgery. Broke a bone in his wrist, I guess. And then so after all of that nonsense, in 2016, he only hit 240 and only had 74 RBIs and only 413 at-bats, and then he came back with a vengeance.
Yeah.
123 runs, 168 hits, 132 RBIs, 85 walks, and 281 average. I didn't even get the slugging and the OPS and all that, but you don't need it after you hit 59 home runs.
Yeah. How old is Stanton?
28.
Yeah.
The beginning of this baseball season coming up, the 2018 season. How old will he be? 28 or 29?
No, he just turned 28 this month.
He just turned 28. Okay.
So there
Thank
it
you.
is.
Thank you. All right. I just want to remind both of you.
Yeah.
I'll come back to you, Bert. I want to remind you at this point of the show that Adrian Gonzalez had his last good season at age 33, and that Carl Crawford, Andre Ethier, and Matt Kemp didn't even make it to 33 to have their last really good season. And Stanton is signed through age 38. I don't know how productive Stanton would be. Now, when you said he's owed $295 million for the next 10 years, that's $29.5 million a year. As silly as this sounds, I think you'll both agree with me that right now, as we speak, as we're sitting here, he's worth that money at age 28. $29.5 million a year. If Kershaw's making $33 million a year, Stanton is worth $29.5 million. Yes or no?
Yes, under that scenario,
right, Linda?
I would have to say
Linda
yes.
Wilson?
Yeah.
His market value. What I'm trying to bring out.
I think you're right.
That's a legitimate market value right now.
Sure.
However, here's my question. If they have to keep him for 10 years, that means age 38, 37, 36, 35, 34, he's not going to be anywhere near that productive in those years, and yet he'll be pulling down $29.5 million a year. And I know, before you remind me, I already know he has a buyout in 3 years, in 2020.
Mm-hmm.
But he'll only buy out if he has more 59 home run seasons. He won't buy out if he has 29 home run seasons, because he wants that money, and of course he'd be a fool not to want it. With the players, Alex Rodriguez and all of us fans found out that you cannot renegotiate a contract to make it lower or less. Or when Alex Rodriguez almost went to the Boston Red Sox a few years ago, they tried to dummy down, if you will, his incredible contract that he had signed with Texas. And the CBA, no. The union, no. Can't do it. Can't do that. And the Yankees came in and swept in and took him. But, all the Dodgers have to do is take a short ride down Route 5, Interstate 5, or as they call it in L.A., the 5, and just go down to Anaheim and see what the deal is with
Albert,
a guy named Albert Pujols. I mean, the Angels gave him an incredible contract, and some writers over the last year or two have been dubbing Albert Pujols as, quote, the worst Major League Baseball player that's playing today, end quote. And by that they mean what his war is and what he's actually, for the money, he's not producing anything near what he's making. And that's what I feel can be happening with Giancarlo Stanton. I mean, sure, if he doesn't get hurt, he'll have 2 or 3 phenomenal years. But what's going to happen after that?
Yeah.
And we have too many guys, baseball fans, and we're all rabid baseball fans. We know only too well what can happen to a post-30-year-old home run guy, slugger guy.
Mm-hmm.
And, I don't know.
34.
Yeah. And,
but can I ask
that will hamstring, that will, $29.5 million a year will hamstring the Dodgers.
Yeah.
In
the
his
back
last,
end of the contract, sure.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Let's even go bold. Let's go bold and say for the last 5 years of the contract, it's going to be hell to pay.
So
literally hell to pay.
2 questions for the 2 of you then. First of all, if he was on them in the World Series this year, would they have won?
That's a good question.
And if they would have, or not, but let's say if he's on the team, it brings them 1, 2, or 3 in the next 5 years, and then have nothing for the back 5. Would you make the deal now?
Yeah, well, you put it like that. I opened the show. You're laughing because you know the only viable answer is yeah. Let's get him.
Absolutely.
But the Dodgers. Wait a minute. Were the Dodgers a Stanton away from the World Championship this year, or were they a Verlander away?
Well, that's a great question. Go ahead, Linda.
I was going to say, well, you can't use Verlander as an example because he was he didn't have any World Series wins this year. So I'm not going to use him as an example.
You know what though? He pitched great, and frankly,
at least
they should have won both the games he started and 1 in 6. But I don't want to go back to that. We've rehashed that a few times already.
We did.
But he pitched great, and if they would have had him instead of Darvish, they would have won in 5.
There you go.
We don't know that. That's all speculation.
Of course.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. So I understand.
Back to the question.
I understand the point, though. The point being made that they should focus more on pitching, and I don't disagree with that. I really don't. I think that just the bringing up the possibility of him playing for the Dodgers, or of Stanton playing for the Dodgers, is what's, this is all fantasy and we can dream about what we want. Yeah, it would be nice, but in reality, I trust the front office to not do to not make a huge mistake like Artie Moreno did when the Angels got holes.
Right.
Well, who do you think would be going in this deal?
Well, wait a minute. Before we get to that, let's stay on what Linda Wilson just said about the pitching. I think it's more important for the Dodgers. Now, listen to this statement. It's more important that the Dodgers re-sign Brandon Morrow than it is for them to get Giancarlo Stanton. I'm not against them getting Stanton. I'm just saying, both things being equal, they're both on the table. I go get Morrow first, and I worry about Stanton next week. First I sign Brandon Morrow, and then I might even look into Tampa Bay if I could somehow get a Chris Archer away from the Rays, and then I worry about Stanton. That's just me.
They almost have a deal for him once before?
Yeah, well, they've always been interested in him.
Yeah,
they've been interested in him for 2 or 3 years.
The Tampa Bay connection, yeah.
Yeah, they had a little Tampa Bay connection there with the Loney thing and this and that. But you know what? if I could get Brandon Morrow, if you said to me, okay, Pete, here it is, I can get you Brandon Morrow and Chris Archer, but you ain't getting Stanton. I'll sign it. I'll take Morrow and I'll take Chris Archer, and I don't even care if Stanton goes to the Giants because the Giants aren't one man away.
Right, you're absolutely
men away.
Right. Yeah.
They're 6 or 7 men away.
Well, we need that other pitcher. That we saw that right in this World Series.
Right.
Or they didn't trust anybody else.
Nope, they did not.
Darvish,
they did not trust anybody else, and they kept using the same guys over and over and over, and he burned them out. That's he really did. He burned the shit out. When he brought in I turned to Linda, my wife, Linda, across the room from me, and I said, "This is the World Series here." He brought in Kenley Johnson. They were ahead 6-1. I said, what's he burning him up for?
Exactly.
He's going to need him. He's going to need him. And he's using him in a 6-1 game. I said, bring in Baez if he wasn't even available. But, I mean, you can bring in anybody. Bring in me. Bring in me.
He could have brought somebody in.
I'll get somebody out before I give up 5 runs, But, man, that bothered the hell out of me. Jumping right back to where you were, what would we have to, and when I say we, I know that pisses a lot of people off. We don't work for the Dodgers, and we are not Dodger players, so I'm going to try to not use that. What would the Dodgers need to give up to get Stanton? And I would say that depends on how much money we're going to have to pay. If we're going to have to pay the entire nut, we don't give up much, I'll tell you that much right now.
No.
We don't give up much at all. But if we're going to ask them for $70 million, we're going to have to give up Verdugo. We're going to have to give up Urias. We're going to have to give people up if we're only going to, if we're only going to pay half the money or 2/3 of the money or whatever, So I think it depends on how much money the Dodgers are willing to pay. And I'm sure they don't have one deal on the table. I'm sure they have a money deal and a player deal. And by a player deal, I mean half the money or less, and then 2 or 3 good prospects. And then they probably have 100% money deal on the thing and say, look, no one's going to take the money except the Philadelphia Phillies who can afford it. But he doesn't want to play in Philadelphia, so Giancarlo is going to nix that deal. So the only deal he's going to okay is one to Los Angeles. And if we're willing to pay the entire nut, you're not getting anybody back. You're going to get a few no names just to placate your fans. It's a money dump. The whole thing is a money dump.
Yeah.
By Miami. They're dumping salary.
Oh, no question. The new ownership doesn't want to pay that.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. And there's only a few teams that can afford the full nut, the full $295 million. I would think there would only be maybe besides the Dodgers, I would think the Phillies could afford that, and if they wanted to, maybe the Giants too. But since the Giants are more than one person away from contending, I think they would back off on that. They don't have any prospects, the Giants. It would have to be mostly money with San Francisco. Mm-hmm. The Yankees want to stay underneath the cap, and they have their sights set on a certain right fielder next year, not Stanton. They're looking at Bryce Harper. Yeah, they're looking at Harper definitely, and they always have been. I think the Dodgers, if the Dodgers want Stanton, they got him. They got him if they want him. Okay?
And your dog agrees too.
Yeah, my dog agrees. He just said the same thing. They got them if they want them. It's just a matter of how many guys they're going to give up or how much money they're going to give. They certainly have both. The Dodgers, here are the three things that are in the Dodgers' favor. Number one, Stanton wants to go there. We all know that. Stanton wants to go to L.A. Number two, the Dodgers have the money. They have the money.
Mm-hmm.
And number three, if they're not willing to pay all of the money, they also have the best prospects. So the Dodgers are 3-0 against all the other teams. Other teams might have the money, but they don't have the prospects. Other teams may have the prospects, they don't have the money. But the Dodgers have the combination of all three of them. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
They can do anything they want to do, the Dodgers. I'm just worried. I'm really worried about Stanton, the back end of Stanton's contract and how it's going to affect the Dodgers. Because 5 years from now, we don't have Justin Turner.
I was just thinking that. Mm-hmm.
Okay, 5 years from now, maybe we don't have Clayton Kershaw.
That's
I'm saying
true.
we again. I mean the Dodgers.
They.
Okay, they might not have a whole bunch of people that we're banking on right now. You know, it's not like 1956, 1955, 1954. Your Dodgers were your Dodgers, and the next spring you knew those were your Dodgers. And the next spring you knew those were your Dodgers. That's not the way it works anymore. So, you know, this is all timed so poorly. This is 1 year ahead of getting rid of Adrian Gonzalez's contract and getting rid of Carl Crawford's payment, getting rid of Andre Ethier's $17 million. It comes 1 year too early. And although they can afford it, I don't really know what they're going to do. Do you have a gut feeling, Linda Wilson, on what the Dodgers are going to do with Stanton in regards to Stanton? Do you have a feeling somehow, some sort of crazy notion?
No, I don't have a gut feeling. I guess I just kind of tried to distance myself from having gut feelings about that.
Okay, well, let me put it a different way. If tomorrow you got up and you put on your computer and the Dodgers had dropped out of the Stanton sweepstakes, completely dropped out, or if you got up tomorrow morning and you went online and the Dodgers had gotten him, they got him, which one would shock you more?
That's even hard to say because I'm at the point where I suppose it would shock me more if they dropped out this early. I would think if they're going to drop out, they're going to wait till the winter meetings start. But I could be wrong. That's okay. I guess that's my gut feeling. Okay, that's probably.
I agree with that. I would be more shocked if I read that they had officially dropped out.
Yeah.
Than if they had gotten him.
Agreement.
Bernie Rose, what do you say?
I have no clue. I think they might go for him. They just might. They were Baseball America's Organization of the Year. I don't know if you heard that or not.
Yeah, just heard that.
So what is the Organization of the Year going to decide? We criticized them a bunch of times over the course of a couple of seasons, and you'd always do that anyway. But I have to say, the plan did result in getting to the World Series finally.
It did, yeah.
And if they think he's that final piece of the puzzle, or certainly a big piece of it, but it really has to do with who goes away. I mean, if they take half the money and Puig goes with them, and maybe I don't know who else, then I don't know. You lose a lot, you gain a lot.
I think Peterson would go before Puig.
Oh, absolutely.
That seems to be the general consensus among what I've read. And of course, what I'm reading is obviously just rumors, but it seems to be that the consensus is that Jock Peterson would be a key part of that trade.
Yeah, he would be a key part. And
sure.
then after Peterson, it would be Alvarez and Verdugo. Alvarez, Verdugo, and Peterson, and Miami pays half the nut, and the deal is made. And they would probably.
You think they're going to try and get somebody to take a Casimir or a McCarthy or even a Ryu?
I'll tell you why.
One of them is part of the deal.
I'll tell you why I don't think so. Of course, I could be wrong, but I don't think Miami wants any more salary, any more money that they have to pay anybody.
That's for sure, yeah.
So Peterson is dirt cheap. McCarthy's making a lot of money.
Yeah, he is.
They don't want McCarthy.
Believe
me. They don't want those guys. Those guys are making 10, 12, 15 million. They don't want that. They want guys that are making 500, 600,000.
You're 100% right. But I'm thinking of other deals. They're going to be. They're looking to get rid of those guys, and they may pay half their salary just to dump them. But it all depends. You still have to have a pitching staff. I don't want to see Casimir in Dodger blue ever again.
Right.
Right. And I'm halfway there with McCarthy as well.
I agree with both of them.
Yeah.
I agree with you on both of them. Now, I read somewhere today, can't remember where I read this. Someone said that the Dodgers could win the World Series in 2018 with Stanton without re-signing Morrow. That's how much of a difference Stanton would make.
Wow.
This writer said that they would be almost guaranteed 105 to 110 wins with Stanton on that team. The addition of Stanton. I don't see it.
Well,
I don't see it.
It's interesting.
I don't see it. They're going to lose a lot of 10 to 8 games, man. If they don't have a bullpen.
That's right.
For
If
sure.
they don't have a bullpen, they lose 8-7, 9-8. Stanton could hit 3 home runs and they lose. That's going to be on the front office.
Yeah. Morrow's, they need Morrow.
They definitely need Morrow. There's no doubt about it.
Absolutely essential, yeah.
He is. What a really good pitcher he is. He turned into a really good, oh man. I mean, he's sensational. I love the guy.
He was.
Love the guy.
They burned him out a little bit. But
they burned him out that one time. But then when he got when he got his 30 hours rest, you saw he came back and he was excellent.
Sure. Oh, yeah.
He came back.
He was not supposed to pitch in that game.
Yeah, exactly. He was not. And not only did he pitch, Roberts asked him to pitch a lot in that game.
Yes.
Somebody else.
So, that was horrible. That was painful to watch. Let's jump over to a Japanese ball player, this kid that supposedly is the next Babe Ruth. He could hit. He's supposedly a great hitter. He's a pitcher, supposedly a great pitcher. He won all kinds of awards over in Japan. Otani is his last name. His first name begins with a K. I don't know if I can pronounce it. Do you want to try it, Bernie?
Shohei.
Okay.
Shohei Otani.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
the S.
What are your gut feelings on Otani?
Well,
Bernie.
I'm gonna let Linda probably knows more about it than I do, but I have checked a couple of things, and he.
All right.
I will tell you this: they say he's
got
a already wicked Major League Baseball ready slider, 100-mile-an-hour fastball.
Wow.
But he hasn't pitched a full season since 2016. This year he didn't because he had an ankle injury. But he had a 1.86 ERA with 174 Ks in 140 innings.
Wow.
So if he's that good, and he's 6'5".
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm like, wow. Maybe that's what he's going to do. Maybe he's not even going to be in the outfield, you know.
What were his
322?
What were his batting stats?
Yeah, 322, 416, and 588.
Wow.
With 22 home runs.
Wow.
This is over 2 years, though, because of a short season. But it's 550 at-bats. So it's like one season worth of play.
Yeah.
22 homers, 588 slugging, 416 on base. So that's just about
So he's over 1,000 OPS.
Yeah. He's just over 1,000 with a 322 average. So it sounds like, and they say he had the ankle injury, but he's ready for the spring.
Okay.
That's about all I know. I bet you Linda knows more.
Go ahead, Lynn.
Not especially. You covered it pretty well. I do have to say I was very disappointed when he was injured and unable to play in the World Baseball Classic this year, because that's one thing I was looking forward to before it started, but wasn't to be. And I went to a few of those games. I'm not sure. Well, given that he is a two-way player, you can't argue if you have both the pitching that you're looking for and the bat in the same deal. It's pretty good thing. So, I've seen very little of him, but just what I have seen of him looks, phenomenally great. Comes with a lot of high recommendations. But again, it's a different adjustment to the game here in the U.S. So
they're calling him the Babe Ruth of Japan, I guess.
Yeah, they are. They are.
So, do you think, Peter, that if they actually go out and get this guy, they're going to have him as like a two-way, if you will, player?
I'll tell you what. I think they'll start him as a pitcher. They'll DH him when they play the AL on the road, when they need a DH. And every now and then, maybe he'll spell somebody in the outfield, depending on what other deals we make or don't make. The Dodgers make or don't make.
Right.
But you know what? Here's the get off my lawn part of my personality. The old man, the old curmudgeon in me. We'll sign the guy. He'll be a freak. He'll be like, everybody will be, everywhere the Dodgers go, they'll sell out. They'll throw like $3.5 million on the road and stuff. But this guy will wind up with like 8 or 9 wins and like 8 or 9 home runs. He'll just be, like today. I don't know if either one of you are aware that the Dodgers signed that guy who throws with both arms.
Yeah, Venditti or?
Yeah. Okay. He used to be on the Phillies. He throws left-handed and right-handed. The Dodgers signed him today to a minor league contract.
Minor league contract.
He's got a 4.97 lifetime ERA.
Oh, really?
I'm not saying Ohtani will have a 4.97 ERA. I'm not saying that at all. What I'm saying, though, is this. Very easily, he could turn into a passable major league pitcher and a passable major league hitter. I don't think he's going to come over here and become, Clayton Kershaw II, and at bat he's going to become, the old time Miguel Cabrera in his prime or anything. I don't see a kid like that coming over here and winning 15 or 18 games, throwing to a 2.00 ERA and hitting 35 home runs. I don't see that happening. I don't see it. I really don't. I don't see it.
There haven't been many that came over like Ichiro and just did it all right off the bat.
Yeah.
Not really.
Nope. You can count them on one hand.
Yeah.
You can count them on one hand, the guys that came over and did that.
Yeah.
Right. You know, some of them took a couple of years and then had some good seasons.
Yeah.
Ichiro's obviously been the best. But
yeah, of course.
But just looking at you know, Arizona and Colorado are improved teams.
Yeah, they are.
And I don't know what moves they're going to make. And the Dodgers, you know, they want to keep one step ahead of them.
Well,
if Arizona signs J.D. Martinez again, which I bet you they want to, I don't know whether they can afford him or not, but
I think the Red Sox are after him.
That wouldn't surprise
Frankly,
me.
I wouldn't mind seeing him leave the NL.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, he can go back to the AL.
You're right.
Unless
go back to where you belong.
Yeah.
If they pass on Stanton, then I wouldn't mind seeing him in left field.
Oh yeah.
You know?
Oh yeah. That's viable
for the Dodgers. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, he can hit. Yeah, he's a good hitter. Good power hitter.
He proved himself to be right there.
Yeah.
But Verlander, you know, he's still going to be on Houston next year, so they're going to, you know, there could be a rematch next year, and you've got to have something to make the difference.
There could be. The Dodgers are the early favorite in Vegas, by the way.
Yes, they are. Yes, they are.
Very early favorite.
I just can't figure out why Vegas does that before they know what moves are being taken.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just seems strange to me.
Because people can put money down, you know.
Yeah, I suppose so.
You got to have odds. If you don't have them, then nobody's putting any money down.
Well, can't they wait until the middle of December so they could at least have a better?
Oh, I'm sure the odds will change a bit.
Absolutely.
I'm
in the
sure
middle
they will
of December,
too.
in the middle of January, in the middle of March, in the middle of February and March, they'll move around a little bit. But Bernie's right; they're looking for money down, and
for the people that are there now that may not be back later,
right.
They want to bet. So you got to have
money
a line.
Down.
That's the only reason.
Exactly.
But
exactly.
You know, it's a lot to take in. It's going to be, you know, it's hot stove, baby.
Yes,
hot stove. Hot stove. Got to make some. You got to have some action. Action is the name of the game in Vegas. You know, I want to reiterate something before we hang up and tie the show together and say goodnight. That probably, and like Linda just said it not 15 seconds ago, no one has really made any moves yet. No one has really made any trades or signings. No gigantic puzzle pieces have been set back and forth and sideways and left to right or whatever. But right now, you would have to say if the Dodgers are not the strongest team in Major League Baseball, they certainly are the second strongest team to the Houston Astros. So they don't need a huge change next year. I would think as a baseball guy, not even a Dodger fan, just a generic baseball guy, I would say they need Brandon Morrow and someone like, not someone like Brandon Morrow, they need Brandon Morrow, and they need someone like the kid, the right-hander from the Rays, Chris Archer. They need somebody like him, but they need Brandon Morrow. They get Brandon Morrow and a kid like Archer, and I think they're sitting pretty. They're sitting real pretty, especially if J.D. Martinez bolts and goes to Fenway. Then you'll see that the Dodgers, on paper, best team in baseball. No doubt about it.
Yeah. Well, you know, the Dodgers just came within one game of winning the World Series. It's not.
They did.
You can't. I mean, you can't get that far without without having a lot of depth. And they did, and they may be just a player away. We'll see. We'll see what they do. I mean, I don't know what that front office has up its sleeves, but I'm sure they got something planned.
Yeah, they got 104 victories.
Yeah,
104 wins is nothing to sneeze at.
No, not at all. And they had some big, at bats, games, weeks, streaks, but they've got to make up just a little bit in leaving runners on base in scoring position. Once Bellinger came up and things start going great, and they went off on 43 out of 50 and that whole, but it came down to it again a little bit in that bad streak they had in September. And if nothing else, in the 7-game series, World Series, Game 7, just Game 7.
Yeah.
I mean, they were down 5-0. They could have won that game easily with just 2 or 3 timely hits.
Absolutely. They had guys in scoring position for like 4 innings in a row.
Yeah.
They had guys in scoring position 4 innings in a row. They had the bases loaded with nobody out. They had the bases loaded with 1 out. They didn't score. They didn't score anything.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing.
And all you have to do is clean that up some.
But that's baseball,
Well, no doubt. That's the one thing that over all these last few years that has always got me.
Next year, you'd be in the same position. You'd be in the 7th game. You could have the bases loaded with nobody out. You could have Stanton coming up, your new guy, strikes out on 3 pitches. You don't know. Baseball is baseball.
That's
That
right.
could happen, sure.
Otani comes up behind him, strikes out on 3 pitches. Who knows? Who knows?
Yeah, no, you don't know. You don't.
You just don't know. You just don't know. And then some clown comes off the bench that you hardly ever even heard of. A couple of years ago it was Trace Thompson. Somebody that you hardly ever heard of comes off the bench like a Culberson. A Culberson comes off the bench and hits one off the wall with the bases loaded. Yeah. And you're sitting in a catbird seat and you go, wow, Culberson, of all people. That's baseball. That's baseball. That's what makes it so phenomenal. That's why we love it so much.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's why we love it so much. I want to take the opportunity to thank both of you for coming on the show. Ronnie's not around. He's on assignment, and I needed 2 people that I could count on, and both of you came through perfectly in flying colors. At in a moment's notice, you both did a really great job, and I want to thank you both. I really do.
So
I mean it from the bottom of my heart. Thanks a lot.
Gone up.
I'm sorry?
You're welcome.
I said our pinch hitting numbers are pretty good, is what you're saying.
Yeah, your pinch hitting numbers are excellent. Yeah. They're like Manny Mota.
Okay.
Yeah.
That sounds
You're
good
like
to
Manny
me.
Mota. You guys are coming off the bench doing a great job.
I
thank you very much.
Together.
I thank you very much. Bernie Rose and Linda Wilson, thank you, my 2 good friends in Dodger baseball and otherwise too. I want to thank you both, and both of you have a good night.
Oh, and you too. Thanks.
You too.
Good night.
Night.
Okay. Bye.